Hello, everyone. I'm WFS, your doctor. And how are you all doing today? My friends, I come to you today with some very interesting news. Two things that I have to ask. One, is Hollywood in big financial trouble? Two, is China and Hollywood's war against the franchises of Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who, and Marvel's in DC is Hollywood's war on these franchises, not respecting the legacy, the history, and the characters and the fans that brought them where they are today. Are these two things possibly bringing about the demise of Hollywood? Let's think about this for a moment, people. I mean, it was just reported today in Bloomberg News that China, the apparently it makes up 41% of the world market when it comes to American films. 41% is a huge number. So China came out and pretty much told the Hollywood filmmakers, get your act together. Make films that we will be more than happy to play that respect our culture, our heritage, and movies that our people want to see. And then we'll let your movies back in to our country. Now, you've got a fantastic movie, Top Gun Maverick, which last I heard made about $1.5 billion. That's just in ticket sales. Now imagine what it's going to do now that it is streaming on Vudu. And in a couple of months, it'll be on Blu-ray and 4K. And imagine what those sales are going to do to it, because I personally will be there buying a 4K disc because that movie deserves 4K. So we've got China over here threatening Hollywood and telling them that you either get your act together or we're not letting your movies back into our country. Now at the same time, over here in the United States, you've got Warner Brothers pulling a meat cleaver basically on almost anything that's going on with DC. I even heard that they've opened up the books over there at DC. I think Laszlo there has decided that he wants to see what's going on over there, whether they're keeping things from him or not. It sounds to me like DC, between his political agenda and Warner Brothers with the new CEO over there, Warner Brothers Discovery, trying to clean up their act and trying to make solid movies that will generate decent revenue for the company. It honestly sounds to me like Warner Brothers, or again, Warner Brothers Discovery, is bleeding money and is doing anything they can to try and stop it. Now, when it comes to Warner Brothers Warner Discovery, it's going to be something new for me to deal with there. Uh, the Dragon, the House of Dragon, according to the papers that I have read, is just killing it on its first episode. I believe they had 10 million views in one episode. And in the first night, I heard that in some places they crashed the server. That is an incredible thing to see happen. I've never seen Game of Thrones. Don't really know anything about the lore behind it. It sounds like a good series, with the exception of what I understand the last season. It sounds like that was a real nightmare, and that's what killed it for everybody. But it sounds like it's going to be a good show, but I don't know, and I wish them good luck. I know a lot of people out there are just not forgiving of what happened at the last season of the series of Game of Thrones. So they've just thrown their hands in the air and said, "The heck with this." Now on the other side of Hollywood, we've got Disney. Oh, Disney is another nightmare entirely. Let's see. You've attacked Star Wars. You're ruining Marvels. What else could you possibly be ruining? Well, you didn't ruin Doctor Who, but now my understanding is you're going to bring it onto the Disney Plus, and that may be the final nail in the coffin for that beast right there. Excuse me. Um, you've pretty much alienated so much of your fan base on these things. I don't understand you, Disney. You spend billions of dollars to buy these companies, and you don't even want to respect the people who help you want to buy it. Now, I call myself a fan of Star Wars, but I know some people out there who are absolute die-hard fans who could quote you not only the movies, but the books and all the catalogs. I mean, there's just people out there who know everything about this stuff that's just unbelievably amazing how they can think of all that and remember it all. Um, but I ask all this because is Hollywood bleeding money? Is it killing itself? Because again, it has lost 41% of its revenue from China. And at the same time, the war is being waged in Hollywood against the fans of all these franchises. We've got Paramount, which again, Top Gun Maverick, bravo. That movie was just excellent. I loved it. But that should be a model for all of you out there in Hollywood. Simple rule. No agendas. No politics. Just make a movie. Make the best movie that Hollywood can make. What happened to that? Now, Paramount, again, you've got problems too. And I am mad at you for Star Trek. That nightmare you've given us in Star Trek Picard, and now you want to tell us season 3 is going to be a whole different beast entirely. Kurtzman's not really involved. You know what? I don't care. I don't care if Kurtzman's not involved or not. The fact is that at the end of season 1, you killed Jean-Luc Picard and replaced him with a duplicate. That is just so bad. So bad. It drives me crazy how you could do that to us. Oh, well, we're just trying to further the plot along. Patrick Stewart felt that that would be a good idea. I don't care who thought what. Why in the world do I want to watch season 3? Oh, well, we've got the whole cast of Star Trek The Next Generation back. You're gonna love it. It's gonna be a good tribute, a good way of saying goodbye. Yeah, I am having a hard time. I've already said my goodbyes. I've already said them. You've already screwed up the timeline so much. It makes no sense. And I really, really would like to give you one final piece of advice, Paramount. And here it comes. Stop trying to bring the fans back because we have a Khan-like character. Will you stop trying to make the fans so excited because the name Khan is mentioned? Well, you've already mentioned Khan before, and it kind of brought your franchise, Star Trek, into darkness. Get the pun? Into darkness. Your franchise is now in the dark. Your toy sales. What toys? They're gone. They're finished. You have ruined this. And you think by bringing the Next Generation back, you're going to do something about this? Guys, I think the only way you're going to do something about this is to do a complete reset. You have to. You have to do a complete reset on Star Trek. It is the only way you're going to save this thing. I grew up with Star Trek. I looked forward to it. can't tell you how many times I watched the old generation, Kirk, Spock, McCoy, Scotty, Sulu, Chekhov. I could go on with all the characters. Every single day I was in front of the television. In fact, I even watched the 24-hour marathons of Star Trek. It drove my family crazy because I was so obsessed with it. What you have done is ruined a legacy, the history. You don't even respect the history. Do you guys who are writing this stuff even pay attention? Hmm? In the first episode of Strange New Worlds, Sickbay has a transporter. Interesting. Very interesting. And Nurse Chapel is able to beam from one part of the ship to the other. Now, my understanding of this series is that it is supposed to be 10 years before Kirk and Spock. How can that be? How's that even possible? Because if it is, and you're trying to keep it, as they say, canon, then we have a big problem. And it may be petty to you, it may be trivial, but to me it's a problem. Because in the old series, Day of the Dove, an alien tricks the Klingons and the Federation, Kirk, and the Enterprise into fighting for control of the ship, while this alien sits back and feeds off the violence, feeds off the energy. Kirk and Spock are on a bridge trying to figure out how to solve the problem when Kirk suddenly says, "Intership beaming." Spock, "Can it be done?" And Spock replies, "It's a theory." Now, mind you, that's not an exact quote. "It has never been done before, Captain. It is a theory." So, how can Strange New Worlds Enterprise be 10 years before our original series, and it has a transporter that goes beaming in people inside the ship, but 10 years later, suddenly it's a theory that transporters can beam inside the ship anywhere? You guys are sloppy with the history of this, and it bugs me no end. My friends, I may have been rambling here a little bit, but I think you get the point of what I'm trying to say here. Hollywood is bleeding money, and it could be in deep trouble if it doesn't start fixing itself and thinking of us. I'm WFS, your doctor, and hopefully, Hollywood, I've given you some sound advice. To all of you out there, have a good day, good evening, or good afternoon, and God bless.